Hello everyone, and welcome to the Ignorant Intellectual on Media. Today I thought I'd do a quick video of a bunch of more movies that I've gotten. Kind of doing this in between the top 100 movie reviews that my daughter and I are doing. You'll notice them showing up on the channel, but I'll pick stuff up along the way. Motivation for those is two of the movies that will be coming up on that list is Back to the Future and The Matrix. And I said, hey, I saw on Facebook Marketplace nice 4K editions of these movies, so I picked those up. So here's the first one. It's Back to the Future, the Ultimate Trilogy box set. Got all the 4Ks, all 4Ks and Blu-rays. So it's the 4Ks and the Blu-rays together. That's kind of cool. It's kind of like a book. The problem with the book things is that you have to slide the discs in and out. Now, when they were DVDs, it was a lot more problematic. But with 4Ks and Blu-rays, they're a little bit more difficult to scratch, so it's not as problematic. But it does, you're sliding them in and out all the time. If you're watching the movies, if you like the movies and you're watching them every few months, then having that slide in and out thing isn't all that great of an idea. And here's The Matrix. So I still have it in a plastic, but I'm going to put it in a plastic bag, so I don't need that plastic. So this is all 4 movies. So you have the original trilogy, and then you have Resurrections, the one where Neo goes to save Trinity, right? All 4 of the films together. One of the greatest franchises of all time. So is Back to the Future, the first Back to the Future. I'd put in the top 100 movie list. Same with the first Matrix as well. The Wachowskis did a really great job at. It's basically that philosophical. Who was it? The French guy? Was it? I keep forgetting. The guy that said, "I think, therefore I am." Basically, this is if you expand on that idea, this is the movie, right? So, I think, therefore I am. I exist. I know that I exist, but I don't know anything else exists. I know that I exist because I'm not using any of my senses to see if I exist. I know I exist because I'm thinking, right? There's no action involved in it, right? So I don't need to see or touch or feel me. I know I exist because I think, right? So everything else, you're not 100% sure that exists because, you could be living in a dream or you could be living in the Matrix, right? So, but you do know that you exist, right? So it's got a nice box to it, and this big plastic, and this has the Blu-rays and the 4Ks as well, so that's kind of cool. But they're all in clamshells, right? So that's a bit better for the discs. You don't have to slide them in and out. You just pop them in and out. Oh, that's the still have the code in it, but the digital code, but it doesn't work. So I got these. I got this one for $35 and this one for $40. So basically around $10 for a Blu-ray and a 4K together. $10 a movie kind of idea. I also found West Side Story. It's serendipitous actually because I thought I was picking up the original West Side Story on 4K, but this isn't. This is a remake. And I went, I wouldn't have picked it up if I knew this was the remake. But then I realized that who did the remake? Steven Spielberg did the remake of West Side Story. So I said, okay, well, I don't have this movie, and I collect Spielberg movies, so I'm going to watch this and see how good it is from the original. It would have been cool if they would have combined both the original and the Spielberg version of it in one disc, in one Blu-ray case, right? And I also found this one, a fun movie from my childhood, from my youth. Let's put it that way. The Goonies. It's from like the early '80s, right? It's one of those fun adventure films from the 1980s. And I haven't watched this, and I got it in 4K, so I don't actually have it in Blu-ray or DVD. I haven't been able to find it, but I found it in 4K. So that was $10. This was $10, and then I got this one, which was also $10. And this movie, if you haven't watched it, is an extremely fun movie. If you haven't watched it, Michelle Yeoh, she really good, really good. It's like I don't know how to describe it. You got to watch it. It's like all over the place. It's like time travel. It's like martial arts. It's everything. It's like all the best of Hong Kong put together into one movie with a female lead. And you know how I don't know if you watched my previous videos, but I really like movies with female leads, like action movies with female leads, because they're always, it's always men that are leading. So when you get one with a woman lead, it's always fun to watch. And she does a really good job with it. And the story in this is quite fun, and the action is quite good as well. So I actually saw it on Netflix, and then I saw that the person that had these two movies also had this one, so I picked this one up as well for $10. So that's kind of cool. Then another person had Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. I've not watched this film, but Bette Davis, extremely good actor, and this is part of the Fox Studio Classics. There's 40 of them. This is number 32. I didn't have number 32, so I picked it up. So now I have 20 out of the 40, I think, around 20 out of the 40. So I know they're on DVD, but whatever, I don't care. I like collecting them. What else? I also, from the same person, I found two Woody Allen films that I haven't had yet, and so I picked those two up. This one was quite funny. I don't know if you've watched it. Jennifer Tilly is really good in this film. She's now a poker player, right? But she used to act in like B movies. Well, she's like a B actor in A movies, right? She always act that dumb blonde, but she doesn't have blonde hair, right? And she does a really, really good job in this one as the girlfriend of a mob boss. And basically, this is about a play that John Cusack, he's a playwright in the film, and he has a play that he wants to get produced, but they're having difficulty getting the financing. So this mobster who has a girlfriend who wants to be an actor finances the play on Broadway. If his girlfriend can act in it, right? So she gets one of the lead parts in the play, and everybody else is professional, really good, and she's like, she's okay, but she's not a very good actor, right? And then her bodyguard, who's like an underling of the boss or whatever, starts helping out the playwright to make it a better play. So it's like the mix of like art and the mob together, and it's quite funny, and it's Woody Allen funny. Woody Allen has a subtlety of its humor that sometimes you won't pick up on it, right? Unless you're paying attention, right? Especially when he complains. If he's in a film and he complains, you just hear the complaint. But if you really, really listen to what he's saying, it's like absurd. So much of his stuff is absurd, right? So when he complains, he's complaining about absurd things that don't make any sense, right? But you won't pick up on that. You'll just pick up on his mannerisms and his anxiety or whatever, right? But you won't pick up on what he says, and it's what he says that is really funny. So it'll blow by you if you're not paying attention, right? And so that one is Bullets Over Broadway, and then Everyone Says I Love You, which is another really good Woody Allen film. And this one is kind of like a musical. They're singing in it. The actors in it will sing, and it's like a star-studded actor lineup that you've never seen any of them sing before, and they're all singing in this, right? You have like You know, MASH's Alan Alda, he sings in it. You have Drew Barrymore, she's in it, and she sings. You have Tim Roth sings a song in it. You know what I mean? Everybody that you've never seen sings in this, right? And they do a pretty good job. It's not a super amazing job, and you know the productions are the production part, the dancing and singing part doesn't overwhelm the rest of the film. So it's kind of like it's a regular film where you have like pop-ups of singing and dancing rather than a musical where like every 5 minutes there's another song and another big production or whatever, right? So it's kind of like uh, shy in its musicality or whatever, right? So, but it's a good story. It's about I don't want to confuse it with the other one because I watched them back to back, and sometimes you know I'll mix movies up if they're from the same director, right? But this is basically Alan Alda and what is her name? I keep forgetting her. She always plays with. Let's see if they say it on the back here. Oh, Julia Roberts is it? Goldie Hawn. All right, so Alan Alda and Goldie Hawn are husband and wife, and they have a daughter who's like, well, they have a half daughter, Alan Alda's daughter, who narrates the film, and she's a bit wild herself. She like bounces from guy to guy all the time. She falls in love really quickly, um, and uh, and she has like a half sister who's Drew Barrymore, who is marrying a really good guy, but then Tim Roth shows up in the picture, and he's like a criminal and just got out of jail because Goldie Hawn is like one of those liberal. You know, the reason why he's in jail is not because he's a bad guy; it's because of he grew up in a crappy uh, family life and home, and that's what made him. It's his environment that made him. He's not a bad guy or whatever. But then he starts dating her daughter, and it's like a whole different story, right? Anyways, it's quite fun. And then they have a son that's like Alan Alda is like a liberal Democrat, and his son is like a staunch conservative, right? So um, so he's like going, how did I come? How did I get a son that's like a conservative? It doesn't make any sense to me. What's going on here? And then you know later on in the film, it's like he has some sort of brain tumor, right? And then they pull out the brain tumor. There's no pressure on his brain anymore, and then the son turns back into a liberal, right? So it's like he couldn't think very well because of the brain tumor, so he was a conservative, right? Anyways, it was like you know Woody Allen shot at you know, conservatives. So it was quite funny. That was quite funny, and the whole movie is quite funny. And there's a part in it where Woody Allen and see Woody Allen plays a side character. He was the first wife of Goldie Hawn, but Goldie Hawn they broke up, and Goldie Hawn married Alan Alda. But he's still like kind of involved with the family and still really good friends with his ex-wife or whatever. And there's a scene, that scene right there, if you notice, where they dance. All right, that was really cool because I don't know how they did it. Because she flies up in the air really high numerous times, right? So she's got to be on some kind of rope that they have, but the way that they dance, it makes it impossible that rope is on her unless they do some really interesting CGI or something to make it. You know what I mean? They can. Like Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon, they had ropes or whatever on all the actors when they were running over buildings and fighting and jumping high in the air and everything. And what they did was they kind of like airbrushed, the ropes out afterwards when in post production, right? So they could have done that here, but the way they dance, they turn around and everything, and it's like how does Woody Allen not get caught in the rope that's attached to her back or whatever, right? It's kind of like interesting to look at. I would like to see the physics of how they did it, right? Um, so that was interesting. That was a really beautiful part of the film was them dancing close to the end of the film, right? And they're still like kind of like best friends, even though they're, Woody Allen plays this typical neurotic Jew guy. And that's half the reason why they broke up or whatever. But that feeling really hasn't. When you fall in love with somebody, you really don't fall out of love with them unless it's like really bad. You know what I mean? So it was a really nice part of the film with them two dancing. All right, so that's Everyone Says I Love You by Woody Allen. I also watched this film, Another Year, this British film directed by Mike Leigh. All right. I watched a film for the top 100 films I was doing with my daughter. It was called In the Wild, and basically it was about a teenager guy who finished high school, and he is in a home where the parents fight all the time. So he decided to leave the house and go up to Alaska and live like a hermit or whatever, right? So he travels around the United States to get up to Alaska, and you meet interesting characters, and then he gets up to Alaska and eats a plant that he shouldn't have eaten, and then he dies from poisoning, right? So basically, it was like 2 years of his life. It was originally a book by John Krakauer. I can't remember his last name. It starts with a K. And then Sean Penn said, "Hey, this is a really interesting book. Let's make a movie about this guy's life or whatever." Right? So they make a movie, and I'm going, "Why?" It's about a teenager who can't take like some arguments with his parents at home, so he decides to go live on the road and be a bum, and basically goes up to Alaska, doesn't prepare going up to Alaska, doesn't know how to live out in the open, in the cold, and basically dies because of it. I mean, he didn't take bushcraft or anything. I mean, he may have read a book or here, there, and on the road he got some lessons from some other people on the road or whatever, but he was quite unprepared, and then he goes up to Alaska and thinks he's going to live. It's almost like a suicide note, but what a stupid movie. I mean, personally, I'm going, if movies are, usually a movie will, let's say some director or writer or somebody comes by an interesting story and they go, hey, that would make a pretty good movie. And then they make the movie out of it. Well, this doesn't rise up to that. What's so interesting about a stupid teenager who goes up and dies up in the Arctic? I don't know. Anyways, I found it stupid. So um, there's so many of those movies that I watch, especially when you're watching quote unquote quality films that critics seem to love. You watch them and you're just going, well, what the hell's the point of it? You know what I mean? How does this rise to a level that it's worthy of making a film or a play or something else about, right? So a lot of that crap goes on, and that was one of them. This one um, started off to be this way, and if it wasn't for, is it Leslie Manville? Was it Leslie Manville? Anyways, whoever played Mary in the film, yeah, Leslie Manville. If it wasn't for Leslie Manville, this film would be another one. It's basically what do they call it? A slice of life film. Basically, it's about a husband and wife, an older husband and wife who has a 30-year-old son, and basically um, about their family and friends. They kind of, their family and friends are kind of screwed up, and they're the only ones that are normal and sane, and so therefore their house and their um, life is intruded upon by these other, well, I don't know if I'd say intruded upon, but basically the wife has a friend from work who was married but ended up getting divorced, and now she's getting older and nobody wants her. And anyways, it's like the film was like, okay, well, what's the point of the film? I don't understand the point of the film. It's like, so you have a couple with one has a brother who has a son that's an ass. They have a son who hasn't married and given them grandchildren yet or whatever, and all this, and then he meets a girl, and they're dating, but her friend from work kind of has a crush, or thought maybe that she would, even though she's a bit older, like 10 years older or something, or whatever it is, than the son, that maybe they could get together, but wasn't really. Anyways, the writing in it is very good, and the acting in it is very good, and the story is, it's just a slice of life story. But what puts it over that makes this movie worth watching, other than, okay, it's just another boring story of life or whatever. Directors have too much time on their hand. They make a slice of life film that has no point to it. Um, this one had Mary in it, and Mary, who's Leslie Manville, man, the whole film is, she's like struggling just to be a human. You know what I mean? She'll she's like, after the divorce or whatever happened to her before this film starts or whatever, like in her past, um, she's on her own, she's by herself, and she's like all stressed out because of it. She has no man in her life, and she wants a man in her life, and she drinks too much and she smokes, and um, it's like she can't get her life together. And then she says, well, and then she buys a car, and then she got ripped off by people because of the car, and she doesn't take care of the car, and the car breaks down, and then her life is just a mess, right? And she can't seem to get out of it, and her personality just kind of sucks in drama, and you feel bad for the woman, but it's like, get your head together and you'll be able to get out of what you're in. But she's struggling to do it, and she can't do it, right? And it's like an extremely depressing person to look at. It's like, can some guy just come in and get her, straighten out her life, all right, so that she's financially stable? And she's like all over the place. And anyways, it's like everything is like coming crushing down on her, she feels like. And the ending of the whole film is her. She ends up showing up at the married couple's house without invitation, just showing up because she's having a difficult time, right? And they're not home, but the brother of the husband is home. Lets her in, and then she's there, and then they kind of have a meal. And the end of the film is her in solo, sitting at the table, listening to the husband and wife talk with the rest of the family, the brother and the son and his girlfriend, and she's there almost out of pity. They allow her to be there almost out of pity, and she's there by herself. And this is after she realizes that there's no hope for her and the son there, because he has a girlfriend and they seem to be getting along really well. So now she feels even more alone, and it's just a solo shot of her in like quiet desperation, and then the film ends, and that shot is like extremely powerful shot. It's like you have a real difficult time with the ending of that film, because she doesn't solve her problem. She's like, anyways, it's really, if you watch this film, you'll understand what I mean at the end with that solo shot of her at the table in quiet desperation, right? So it's like, wow, I wonder how many people are like that, right? I've been in that situation myself a few times in my life, so I know exactly how it feels. And yeah, it's tough, and it's really tough to see on screen. So it's what makes this movie. And if it wasn't for that character in this movie, this film would be just another average film or whatever, right? So that's Michael Lay's Another Year. Stayed in Maine. I haven't watched this one. This one's directed by David Mamet, which I collect his stuff, so I'll watch that and then we'll review it later. I also found a John Carpenter film that I never see, and I see it on a DVD, so I picked it up, in the Mouth of Madness. I haven't watched this film either. It'll be interesting to see Sam Neill in a John Carpenter film. And then we have Imitation of Life, and this one is both the original 1930s film and the 1950s remake, both together. And stars her. I just saw her in It Happened One Night, and she was very good in that film with Cary Grant, if I remember correctly, Claudette Colbert. So it'll be nice to see her in another film. But I'm not sure why why did I pick this up? Is it because of the director? Who directed? John M. Stahl, and the other film was directed by, who directed this one? Douglas Sirk. I'm not sure why I picked that up. I also got this one, which is romantic comedies. These TCM four packs are really, really fun. You get and the quality of the films is really good. Like, they cleaned up the films. It's the only thing I can guess, because every one of these 4 packs that I pick up from TCM, they're all DVDs, And they're usually just 2 discs with a film on each side, right? But the quality of the film, they cleaned it up really nicely. So this one has Adam's Rib, Woman of the Year, The Philadelphia Story, and Bringing Up Baby. So whenever I come across these 4-packs, the TCM 4-packs, I always pick them up. All right, so all right, we got that one, and then we got 20th Century Women. All right, so I haven't watched this one either, but I picked it up because it's a Mike Mills film, but supposedly this is an extremely good film, so I picked it up. I'm going to watch it. I also picked up Three Women, which is part of the Criterion collection. It's number 230 in it. All right, and it stars Sissy Spacek in one of her earlier roles, along with Robert Duvall's daughter. What was her name? Shelley Duvall. And we'll see if it's any good. I picked it up because it's number 230. So I'm on my way to the first 1,000. I also found Modern Romance. I watched this when I was young. I don't remember anything about it. This is part of the Indicator collection. It's number 86 in that collection, the British imprint, right? And that's why I picked this one up, because it's part of that. I didn't have that one. All right. Then we have Basket Case, one of the put out in a nice slipcase by Arrow. All right. And this is basically a horror film, but it's a horror film like I've never heard of before, and it's basically about like conjoined twins, where one fully developed and the other one didn't, and then a doctor separated the two of them, and then now they're going after to hunt the doctor because they separated them or something along that line. Seems kind of the basket is one of the twins, can't walk, who's like underdeveloped or whatever, right? So it's kind of like a horror from Arrow. And then in the realm of the senses, Blu-ray, it's still in its plastic. I got this for 20. This is number 466 in the collection of the Criterions. So I haven't watched that, haven't opened it yet. Then another Indicator, this one is number 29 in the collection. This one is Housekeeping. All right, so all these films I haven't watched yet. Demons 2, this one is a Synapse collection. Demons 1, which was, or the first Demons, I think was a Dario Argento film. And then Demons 2 is like he produced it, and Mario Bava's son directed it, right? If I remember correctly, so it's supposed to be pretty gross. And I had this on DVD, but I didn't have it on Blu-ray, so I picked it up. If you haven't, this is one of the great musicals of all time. Gene Kelly is extremely good in this film, and the dance sequences and the cinematography in this film is just, I don't know, blows your mind, the cinematography, the bright reds and yellows and everything that's in this film. It just puts you in a good mood. I mean, if you want to be in a good mood, watch this film. All right. Then The Birdcage, another one that I had, but I only had it on a DVD, so now I have it on Blu-ray, still in its package. This is basically about a gay couple who behaves like a straight couple. Can you be a straight couple if you're two men? Anyways, they act straight in order for one of their kids who's getting married, if I remember correctly, because I think it's the son that's getting married, and the daughter's parents, one of them is Gene Hackman. He's like a staunch conservative type of guy and wouldn't be able to handle gay men or whatever, right? So, and Black Sabbath, the Boris Karloff film, directed by Mario Bava. Basically, this is like there's 4 stories to this, if I remember correctly. One of the great horror anthology films of all time, and Mario Bava's personal favorite of his work. So yeah, so it's like 4 stories in one. I've not watched it yet. I have watched this. This is a fun film. It's like produced by Roger Corman, who directed it. Alan Arkish. But basically, you get to see the Ramones in it. and you get to see them play uh, uh, some of their music, although a lot of it I think is lip synced because it sounds exactly like the records rather than live, right? So, um, but you see them in concert at the end of the film, or like 3/4 away of the film, playing some songs, and it's basically rebel type of thing where you know these the staunch conservative principal tries to get control of a school that's gone crazy because of rock and roll, right? So it's, you know, it's typical B movie type of stuff that Corman's famous for, right? And this Snowpiercer, this one, who's the director of this one? Bong Joon. It's hard to see. I'm getting old. Bong Joon-ho. All right, Bong Joon-ho and Kelly Masterson uh, did the. So it was the screen story by Bong Joon-ho, directed by Bong Joon-ho, and the screenplay was written by Bong Joon-ho and Kelly Masterson. This, if you think of the concept of this, you kind of say, "What? That makes no sense." It's like kind of like snakes on a plane. You know what I mean? Like if snakes were actually on the plane, you know, there's nowhere to go. You know what I mean? It's like Under Siege 2 when they were on the train. It's like, nowhere. Where are you going to hide? How does Steven Seagal hide from the bad guys so easily, right? You know what I mean? There's no space on it, right? So, you know, just walk from one side of the train into and you're going to run into the guy. There's no way the guy can hide, right? So he thought. So this one is basically, it's like the end of the world, some sort of virus or additive to the food or water or something. I can't remember. Spread out and basically killed everybody, and put the Earth into a new ice age, and I think it was supposed to help with global warming or something. It did the reverse. Anyway, whatever the reason, the Earth is done. All right, the Earth is in an ice age, and this engineer, visionary guy, creates this engine that's a perpetual engine that runs. You know, will continually run. They don't explain it, but it basically will run forever, kind of thing, right? And that engine he puts on a train, this metal train that has like 20 or 30 cars long, and basically gets on the track and it just drives. And it's the only surviving human beings left on the planet are these people that are on the train. And there's like a hierarchy. There's like a class system on the train where the back of the train are all poor people, and then as you go forward up into the engine room where the leader of all these people is, you know, it gets better and better, right? So basically it's like a microcosm of let's say British society, whatever. Anyway, so Chris Evans stars, and he's at the back of the train, and he decides that he's not going to take the shit anymore of all the bad things that happen to the people at the back of the train, and he wants to live life and share life like the people at the front of the train who have a really good life on this train anyways. You understand what I mean? So he fights his way forward, and he does what no other revolt or rebellion ever did, and he gets to the front of the train, right? And then things are explained to him, and then, you know, anyways, extremely good film. Really good action, really good story, really good philosophy and everything. It's a really, really, really good film. But you wouldn't think it would be because, you know, it's kind of unbelievable. But when you look at all the different train areas and you go, okay, maybe that's feasible, and if you let your imagination stretch a bit, you know what I mean? Otherwise, you know, you're going to say this film is stupid because, okay, there's a whole bunch of people on a train, how are they living? You know what I mean? You know, there's no, you know, it's all snow. There's nothing being grown or anything, you know what I mean? But then you see how the train is set up, and, you know, and maybe, but even so, that, you know, it wouldn't be able to. Anyways, it's all explained in the movie to an amount that is, if not really feasible in real life, it is kind of believable for the film. But the whole idea behind this film and the whole, you know, psychology and of all, it's really interesting. It grabs you, and you you stick with it, right? And it's like interesting. The whole movie is like really interesting to watch, right? And his monologue when he's speaking to the Korean guy, because it's a Korean movie, speaking to the Korean guy who's opening the doors to each one of the cars, about what it was like in the beginning when he first got on the train, and that was a pretty powerful powerful story. It turned into cannibalism and killing mothers for their babies because babies taste good and stuff. It's like, yeah, that speech was, or that monologue was pretty. And Evans did a pretty good job on it. He's not just like a pretty face, if you know what I mean. So, all right, so that Snowpiercer is extremely good film if you haven't watched it. I think that's everything except for this one. I found this, Romeo and Juliet, as a graphic novel. So Sparks Notes, remember, I don't know how old you are, but Sparks Notes are these companion things for classic literature. So maybe you're in college or you're in high school and the teacher says, okay, I want you to read Romeo and Juliet and then do an essay on whatever this. So you pick up these Spark Notes companion books that explain more in depth of what the book is and what maybe the teacher or somebody else would understand what the significance of the play or the book is and all that. So these Spark Notes, and then what happened was later on Sparks decided to put out all the Shakespeare, much of the Shakespeare's plays into modern English. So one page you would have the original text of the play, and then on the other side you would have the modern English version of that, right? And some explanation and all that. And those were, it was No Fear Shakespeare, they called them, all the books. No Fear Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, No Fear Shakespeare, Macbeth or whatever, where you have one side, the original play, the other side, the translation into modern English, right? And then they ended up jumping, Sparks Notes ended up jumping even further and have now starting to put out graphic novels of all of Shakespeare's plays. They've done Romeo and Juliet, I think Macbeth, and Hamlet and Macbeth and Romeo and Juliet so far since the publication of this book. Basically, it's the story told in graphic novel form, so that's kind of cool. And they modernize the English in it, so it's basically you get the story of Romeo and Juliet in graphic novel with modern English, so that's kind of cool. So I thought I'd pick it up and read it and see how it is. So yeah, it's really nice edition. So I thought I'd do that. So they've done 3. I guess they're waiting to see how those ones sell, and if they sell good, maybe they'll put out more. I'm not sure exactly. So that's everything. If you like the video, leave me a thumbs up. Think about subscribing, and you have a great day, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye for now.